Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Martin. Yes, football is back after the international break, and we're here to preview Leeds United versus Aston Villa coming up on Sunday afternoon. And it's shaping up to be another big game. Can Villa keep that momentum? Will it be a banana skin that Villa will slip over that we have done in the past, in these types of games? So we'll get it right into that. Before we do, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. And yeah, get your comments in, your thoughts on the game coming up on Sunday. We were just chatting, Martin. Good to see you, by the way. This week, the week after the final game going into the international break isn't too bad. But this week, when you're building up to the next game, it just seems to go on forever, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've only just sobered up yesterday due to the fact that I'm really getting the heroics in. So for me, the week's kind of gone a little bit too quick. But that being said, you are right. And no, I was only kidding, folks. I actually don't drink. But, you are right. When you have international football, it's always quick enough. You got games ticking fast because it's pretty much on every night. It doesn't matter who you watch. Normally, I would be quite dire in international football, but thank God I got the
brilliant one for you guys.
I got a good one. I got a good one for a change, and beating two teams that get you into the playoff of the World Cup, and thankfully we got a decent enough draw to try and get a chance now for a place in the World Cup. And if they do get in, Rich, I'm telling you now, I'll be America for the full month. I don't care.
Go for it.
I'll be there. Whether I have a ticket, I'll be there.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's just that anticipation of games coming up, and we're nearly there. But I think taking your mind back to that 4-0 victory against Bournemouth, it's been a real momentum builder, hasn't it, for Aston Villa over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks. I know we had a couple of little bumps in the road, losing at Anfield, losing against Go Ahead Eagles, but generally it's been a kind of return to form. It was a comprehensive performance in a lot of areas against Bournemouth, scoring 4 goals, clean sheets, saving a penalty, lots of players, 4 different players getting on the score sheet as well. How important is it for Aston Villa to keep that momentum going when they face Leeds on Sunday?
Hugely important. When we look at Leeds, the Leeds fixture of the last while, we've kind of been, kind of grateful for the results that we've had. We've always had some good times playing them as of late. You think back to Callum Chambers just knocking one into the top corner, which was something that you couldn't quite write, and then you go and beat them then. Well, actually, we drew 3-3 when we were 3-1 up. But that being said, we were still kind of comfortable up until that point. But we haven't really had a bad record as of late against Leeds. And but that being said, I look at them now. Yeah, they might be down the table, but they got quite a tall midfield, and that's where the battle is going to be for me. And I think this is going to be a banana skin if we fall into their physicality game. If we try to be physical with Leeds, I just think that they'll be too strong for us in midfield. They'll, turn us over, get that early goal and try and hold it out for as long as they can. And hopefully that just doesn't happen. But if we play our game, keeping the possession, being patient in attack, and then I think we'll turn them over. I definitely think it's just not going to be a draw, in my opinion. I think either way, it's going to be a Leeds win if we fall into their hands, or it'll be an Aston Villa win if we keep our composure.
Yeah, I think that's the key point in terms of Aston Villa and how they approach this game, because we've seen these moments before where Aston Villa have had times where, I'm sure this isn't in the players' minds. I'm sure this isn't in Unai Emery's mind, but it is particularly within the fan base's mind that when we're the underdog, Manchester City, or if we know we've got a tough game coming up, like a real tough, even Bournemouth, for example, we were all saying that's a real tough game. Bournemouth in great form. They could go second if they win, etc., etc., etc. But this game, this is a particular opportunity where it's like, Leeds not been in a good run of form, towards the bottom of the table. Villa coming up, got an opportunity to kind of really put the pressure on the top four. We've seen this story before, haven't we, where we'll come unstuck to an early goal or we'll get frustrated. We won't be able to break them down. They'll score on the break. I think that's the worry. That's the danger that we face as Aston Villa.
Yeah, it's always as if it's scripted for us to kind of lose when we're the favourites and, when the pressure is really on. But at the same time, you can only play what's in front of you though, Rich, and if we, like I say, keep to our composure, I think we'll turn over Leeds. And, if we can get those vital 3 points, then you have a good home game against Wolves, who aren't exactly doing well at this minute. They haven't even won a single game. They just look so easy to play against. But for me, that's not the focus. My focus now is on Leeds. And like I say, Leeds are just so physical and they're not going to make it easy for teams to beat them in Elland Road. They never have. Doesn't matter how many times they've gone up and down. Like this, Elland Road is still a very tough place to go to. Tight pitch, fans literally right beside the pitch. It's not extended out that little bit where you see most stadiums nowadays. No, you're right in the mix. So it's going to be a great atmosphere. And I just think as well, just to bring back to your point of kind of keeping the pressure on the top four, it really is a big game in the sense of it because the table is so tight from third place all the way down to 14th. There's only like a 4-point gap. And, you really have to get a momentum and a run going in order to kind of drift away from that. We see Arsenal do it, who have had a run and they are now obviously ahead of the pack by some distance, but at the same time, not by a lot, but still enough to say that we're not in that mix of going up and down like yo-yos. Man City now starting to get a bit of a run in. They've started to steer clear. Liverpool only not that far. Oh, sorry, no. Third place is... Who's third place again in the league? It's been that long since
Chelsea are third. So we've got Arsenal 26, Manchester City 22, Chelsea on 20, and then Sunderland on 19. And then you've got Spurs, Villa, Man United, Liverpool, and Bournemouth all on 18 points.
Well, there you go. That says it in itself, doesn't it? So if you win a game, you're basically into the top three. And if you lose, you're right down nearly into the bottom half. And that's something that you can't really have at this minute. And, you just really have to keep a run going, momentum. And now that international break is gone, there's no more now until March. So this is a crucial time now for Villa to really get themselves a run. Yeah,
I agree. You mentioned sort of the atmosphere at Leeds as well. And we know what it's been like, especially when we've played them on like 5:30 kickoffs, 7:45 kickoffs. And we know those games in the Championship that we had.
They've only lost one game at home as well.
Yeah, just seen that in the comments. Jantrum's put there in the comments. They've only lost one home game against Spurs. So we know that home form is going to be important for them. They've only won 3 games all season, but we know that the home advantage, they'll try and play on that as much as possible. However, James has said you can't see Leeds sitting back, which could help us. But Gary's put that Daniel Farke is on the brink, so they might go defensive. How do you picture that with Leeds in terms of the approach to the game with, Farke being under quite a bit of pressure at the moment?
Well, look, can go one or two ways, can't it, when it comes to managers? You live and die by the sword of the decisions that you make as a football manager. One way he might go defensively cautious, try to get a point on the board, or, he might get that 1-0 win that, you put in a good solid defensive performance, or he'll stick to his usual tactics, and hopefully after the international break that he's had, the players have kind of adjusted themselves and try and get a big performance, try to outplay us in every capacity that they possibly can. And that's something that, Premier League managers are always going to do. They, like I say, they live and die by the sword of the decision that they do make. So I think for me personally, I would agree with James in saying that he can't really see Leeds going defensive, because I just think that the way that they play, the way that they press,
Yeah, the crowd will demand it, won't
crowd,
they?
crowd as well. You know, they haven't been
Yeah.
at home now for the last 3 weeks or so. Like, so the crowd is really going to want to be up for it. So I don't think there's going to be much sit back from Leeds. I think they will want to go for it. First 10, 15 minutes, I think you actually might see Leeds on top of us because they're at home. You know, those quick passes, trying to get in behind us, try and get an early goal, try and lift the spirits a bit. And if they do get a result from that, then Daniel Farker can obviously say that he's still going to be in the job for a little while. But if not, then yeah, he's banging trouble. But at the same time, I'm not worried about the Leeds manager. I'm worried about the fact that we're going to get 3 points or not, and that's just the reality of it. But hopefully, we have a bit too much in our disposal.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's Daniel Farker. I'm not sure if I said Daniel Farker, but yeah, I think I did. I just spotted his name there, and I thought, did I say that? But yeah, he is under a little bit of pressure.
I think he did. Yeah.
Good. Just in terms of their players, they seem to kind of be more about the collective as opposed to any sort of real individual brilliance.
Yeah.
In terms of players, but they have got, Sean Longstaff, good Premier League player, I would say. Aronson's come in and done okay. Okafor has scored 1 or 2 goals. But they don't really have any huge names, do they, in their side? They have made sort of 1 or 2 sort of reasonably big signings, but it's been more about the collective, hasn't it? And when you do watch Leeds play and under Farker, it is like you say, trying to sort of play as a, good, real pressing when they're off the ball, and then trying to attack quickly with quick passing and utilizing the wingers, but that physical pressure in midfield. But Villa have been quite good with that physical pressure in midfield, particularly with Amadou Onana and Boubacar Kamara.
Yeah, I mean, when we had Kamara Onana, I say that was probably the plan originally, was to have Onana and Kamara in the midfield. But when you look at last season, that we didn't really get to see a whole lot of them two together due to the fact that injuries was kind of hampering the two of them at different stages, not at the same time, thank God. But you would see that the physicality that we were kind of up against, we were lacking, and we didn't really have, someone in the midfield that can really win that battle for us, take the game by the scruff of the neck when we're really up against it. And now this season, we've seen Kamara and Onana really get a run of games together, and any physicality that's been thrown at us, we've taken it on, and we've absolutely bossed it. And like Gary said, our midfield has been winning games, and I fully agree, because thanks now to Onana and Kamara, the likes of our Emi Buendias, Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins, John McGinn can play that bit more of a free role and not having to constantly track back. Yes, they still have to do their duties, but you would look at it and go, our players have a bit more of a free role, knowing that these two lads are going to take all the pressure. And then defence as well can be quite calm now as well, Rich, because the likes of Konza, Pau Torres can probably focus on their game, knowing that the fact that the two men in front of them are going to protect them so much. And I just think that the double pivot of Onana and Kamara, I just think is here to stay, because it's just so colossal, tall as well, like we've always been looking for, physicality, monstrous. It's everything that you look for in a midfield pivot, and then hopefully you have your players that are a bit further forward just be able to shine with the skills that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get on to kind of discussing the Villa team and the potential of 1 or 2 injuries, I just want to shout out Tornado 1972 for becoming a member of the podcast, becoming an official Villa Park pod follower. Thank you so much, mate. Much appreciated. Welcome to the family. Great stuff. And if anyone does want to join and follow Tornado's lead, then please click the join button. Just $1.99 for your membership. But please do, guys, hit that like button if you haven't already, and do subscribe. Help us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. But yeah, welcome to the family, mate. Much appreciated. So we talked about that midfield battle, Longstaff versus Onana. It's a bit of a mouth-watering battle. But with the Villa squad, we talked about before the break, we talked about in the Villa round table we had on Sunday, which was a brilliant show. Please do catch that if you haven't already, guys. We talked about the kind of quality that we have on the bench now, the quality of players that aren't even making the squad at the minute. How is Unai Emery, before we kind of get into the mechanics of this game, I know there's been 1 or 2 players pulled out of squads for precautions, which we'll come on to in a second, but how do you see Unai Emery balancing up this squad throughout this Christmas period? It's vital that he's got these players fit, but we've got, Leeds coming up, Europa League against Young Boys, we've got Wolves at home, we've got multiple other games, Brighton away, multiple other games in the Premier League. So it is going to be a real games coming thick and fast. So how does he manage that with the squad that he's at his disposal?
Well, look, it's a nice headache to have, isn't it, having such a big squad coming into the Christmas run. I think when you look at last year, we were quite slim. We weren't, we were on our last legs in that Christmas period, but now we have that flexibility. So I think Unai would be grateful. 2, it would be a nice headache to have, and being able to rotate in certain games, players playing in certain moments and roles that they'll have and whatnot. And if players are rested, they know they won't be too upset, because they know this time last year 1 or 2 of them were on the last legs and really trying to just survive the Christmas spirit. And I think another thing as well is the tactics which that Unai Emery will employ, because he's got so many options at his disposal. When you look at the likes of Ross Barkley, you look at the likes of Tielemans, Malen, Gassond, Maatsen, Lamar Bogard, players that will come in and do a job. Now, I know Tielemans is probably going to be a guaranteed starter eventually at some point once he gets to full match fitness. But right now, obviously, he's going to have to be one of those to make an impact until he gets his match fitness back up. And I just think that it really is a great thing to have for 1, Unai Emery, and 2, now as the fan base, because now we can look at our squad and just go, oh, thank God, a bit of breathing space. If this player is rested, happy days. If he's rested, happy days. Not worrying about the next injury, not worrying about who's going to the hospital bed the next time, who's in the treatment room now. None of that crack. It's all now about having a good, healthy squad, fit and ready for Christmas, and managing the players' game time as much as possible.
Yeah. Michael says substitutions will be key. Tornado said it's great we have the depth of squad again, and Unai is a master of the subs, and that's what's really important. That's what's winning us games at the moment, or turning games for us, or helping us to control games. You look at the game against Bournemouth. We were 2-0, could have gone to 2-1, saved the penalty, makes multiple substitutions, and both of them score. And that's what you want from your bench to make an impact. Exactly what we want. Lucas says if we can get that second striker in January, our squad will be unbelievable. Patty says Unai does have a full complement on the bench for subs, absolutely. And I think someone said that Garcia's back in training. Harvey Elliott, we haven't mentioned as well. What's going to happen with him? Which I know we talked about the other day.
Who's he?
Just on that point with the squad, and before we get your predicted lineup for Sunday on the screen, a couple of players sort of rested for precaution. I saw Tielemans' minutes were managed. Konsa kind of didn't play in the last England game as a precaution. I think Onana was rested as a precaution as well. Matty Cash was rested as a precaution. I think Lamar Bogard was released from the under-21 squad as well. So how do you read into that? Are those, without sort of kind of hearing Unai Emery's press conferences, but is that kind of, look, let's get you back to Villa, you'll be back in training, you should be fit for Sunday, or is that, these players have got legitimate injuries, shall we say?
Well, it could be a mixture of both, Rich. You never know who really is injured and who isn't nowadays. But that being said, I think personally the cautions were right. 1, because the clubs are paying these players. Obviously, you'll get some sort of appearance fee for your international team. But that being said, the club is your main employer, whoever you play for. So I think the national teams, what they're doing is right. You're a bit tight this week on the calf. I have more than enough players that are going to cover me. You go back to your club, go to your physio, get yourself fit, and be ready for your match. And I think the likes of Cash, Onana, Konza, I think that was hugely important, considering they're the core right now of our squad. Because if
Yeah.
one or three of them even played with that little niggling injury that would have aggravated to a pulled hamstring or a pulled calf or whatever injury you might be thinking of, it eliminated that. The players going back, getting fit, recovery programs, whatever they need to do to get themselves fit. And I just think that it really betters our chances of having such a big squad, especially coming to Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, are you so without giving too much away, are you kind of anticipating too many changes from that Bournemouth game?
Not really, considering the performances that were put in by
Yeah.
every player. I just think that it was effective. It was quick. It was sharp, and when we were up against it, we absolutely held our own. And I just really think that we can keep that continuity going. I just think that'll be enough to get the 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get your starting lineup on the screen. Where are we? Here we are. So talk us through it, because we teased it enough. Emi Martinez in goal, Luca Digne left back, Pau Torres, Ezri Konsa at centre back, Matty Cash at right back. Then we've got Onana, Kamara, and Rodgers in that midfield. The way that we set it out, but we know the formation that Unai plays. Then we've got Buendia, McGinn, and good old Ollie Watkins up top. We'll come to Ollie in a second, because I want to kind of get your thoughts on that in a minute. But yeah, just talk us through your decisions there, because I mentioned in our group chat there's a certain Mr. Tielemans who's not included in that starting lineup.
Yeah. Look, I think the back five picks itself again due to the fact of your back five should be the same every single week. It doesn't matter if one of them had a bad game every now and then. You have to keep the continuity and the chemistry of your back five. The double pivot and the midfield with Rodgers. I just think for me at this minute in time, I know Yuri Tielemans is an absolute standout player, but when you look at the form right now of Onana and Kamara together, don't fix what's not broken. When he is absolutely on fire at this minute, you've got John McGinn, who's the captain, which will start, and that's just the way it is. And then you've got Morgan Rodgers, who's starting himself pick up to be the best player in the team again. The marauding runs that we've always seen, and he's getting his passes off quicker and more effective. And I just think that right now for Yuri Tielemans, especially in this game against Leeds, who are going to be so physical, I just think it'd be the right time. Sorry, not the right time for him to start. And I just think maybe come on for half an hour, 25 minutes, just to get that match fitness up, and then potentially start him at home to Wolves. You want to ease him in. You don't want to just rush.
Yeah. Well, like you said before, mate, we haven't, obviously we haven't heard from Unai in terms of a press conference to know the extent of any of the potential injuries, but the pressure isn't on to have to play these players right now. So yeah, I think you're right. Let's just look at some of the comments. Patty says good team starting. Brock said that's a solid ass team right there. Michael said he would go for that team. Lucas said even if Yuri is fit, I fully expect Onana and Kamara to start. Neither deserve to lose their place. So I think everyone's agreeing. Rachel said she thinks that will be the team that Emery picks, unless the possible injuries are actual injuries, i.e. Konsa and fair. Cash. Tornado says strong team. Tielemans, few more games with minutes to build stamina, then solid starter. Kamara is solid. Nothing but true words from you, Martin. So there you go, mate. There you go. And Stephen thinks that, and this is what I wanted to come to you with regards to, he thinks Tielemans is the man who can get Ollie going. And like you said, building up Tielemans into games I don't think is the wrong way to go. But with regards to Watkins, is always never far away from conversation with Villa fans. But, the 2 weeks that he's had to rest, I think he's been on holiday with his family. He hasn't had to go away with England. It's interesting how Thomas Tuchel, whether he was giving him a get out of jail free card or not, I don't know. But he was saying, he's not fully fit. He's got time to rest and recuperate and get over whatever niggles he's got. But all of a sudden now it's like, oh, well, Watkins is forgotten with England. He's not going to get picked. This is according to all the pundits. And now Tuchel, if Harry Kane was injured, he'd go for Phil Foden up front now instead of, just he's forgotten about any other strikers that could possibly play for England. But just with that break, has that come at a good time for Watkins in terms of just refreshing and recuperating? And could we possibly see a bit more of a fresher Ollie coming back after this break?
Well, look, I think if the words are true about Thomas Tuchel, and if he was carrying this niggling injury and wasn't exactly 100% fit, you would turn around and say, right, fair enough, chance to recuperate in a lovely 2-week break, bit of family time, whether he was out in the sun for a week or if he was at home just doing his little recoveries, making sure that he was fit, then by all means. But at the same time, Rich, if the words aren't true, he's not performing, and that's just the reality of it. And I know the comment is like Tielemans would be the man to get Ollie going. For me personally, would he? Because it's the same thing with Ollie Watkins. It's every 10 chances he gets one. And the amount of chances that he gets, and he might only walk away with one goal, it's frustrating because in those 10 chances, he'd have so many easy, like pretty much goal scoring opportunities, and he doesn't put them away. And then you look at, is Tielemans the man to get Ollie going? Last year, you might have said, yeah, with the form that Watkins had every now and then, but Watkins being a perfect patch player, your luck runs out eventually. And I think this is a season now, and I don't like saying it, personally I don't, but I just think this is the season now where his luck has run out, because for years we've always said, when Watkins has been in this bad form, he'll come good eventually and everything will be fine. But there's only so long you can keep saying that. You need someone who's going to be up top, where they're going to have a good game. They're going to be a goal-scoring threat, where the defence are going to look at, we're going to have a bit of hard work today. These are the things you need to look at. And I think the next few games now for Ollie Watkins are huge, because if he doesn't perform between now and 31st of December, 1st of January, Unai Emery is, one, going to get a striker in, and two, he might even look at selling Ollie Watkins to get the funds, because obviously we have the PSR, SCR situation. So if he's not performing by then, Unai Emery's going to go, right, I'm going to get a striker in for the exact same price I'm selling you for, and I know he'll score goals. Because Emery's ruthless, and that's just the reality of it. I mean, yeah, I love having a ruthless manager, but if we want to be in this upper echelon of teams, of getting to European football every single season, Champions League, getting to the high ends of the competitions, of course, then we need someone who's in there that's going to get you, okay, not Haaland numbers, but at least if he gets you 20 goals a season, then happy days.
The magic 20 goals a season.
Well, look,
hardly any strikers get.
Well, look, hardly any strikers get. But when you look at the amount of chances, when you look at players right now, Danny Welbeck is on 6-7 goals.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And look, I'm not saying that. I'm just, I think everyone's hoping, and then everyone's hoping in the chat that, this couple of weeks and this kind of barren spell that was longer than a barren spell, but this drop off in goal scoring form certainly is going to end at some point, and we will get some consistency in terms of putting chances around scoring goals from Watkins. I think one of the positives that we've had is that the goals have been spread throughout the team. Morgan Rogers has only scored one Premier League goal this season, so there's it's a real positive that we've had multiple goals from Marlon. We've had multiple goals from Buendia that we didn't expect. We've had multiple goals. We've had goals from McGinn. We've had, goals from Matty Cash. So there has been plenty of goals spread throughout the team. And I think that Bournemouth game has kind of really, I think, relaxed a few supporters in the fact that we know we can create some chances. We know we can score some goals now. The players are a bit more relaxed about, trusting each other to go forward, trusting each other to take those risks. Because before that sort of we'd only scored 9 goals in the Premier League before that Bournemouth game, and now all of a sudden 13 looks pretty good, doesn't it?
It looks really much better.
Yeah. So I do think he will turn something around, but I make you right in the sense of, and I said this the other day, you know, the time for just putting all your eggs in the Ollie Watkins basket of he will come good. He's our number one striker. He doesn't really need that competition. I think that's over. I think we've got to get another option, and whether that's internal within the club, you know, Gesson or Marlon, or whether that's actually going to buy someone, then that's another matter. But you know, it's up to Watkins now. He has got his England place, regardless of what Tuchel said, at risk. He's also potentially got, you know, pressure on him as an Aston Villa player with regards to Unai Emery, as you said, and he's also got his own pressure because I'm pretty sure he doesn't not want to score goals. So he's got his own pressure that he's putting himself under as well. So you know, I think that's a big part of it as well. What about in terms of those sort of more attacking positions? So you talk about Rodgers, McGinn, Buendia. How is that looking for you at the moment? Are you happy with those three? Are you thinking that Marlon maybe deserves a shot? Are you thinking Gesson coming in for an away game? Is that a potential option? How do you feel about those more sort of attacking midfielder positions?
Well, look, I think those attacking midfielders for me, I'm quite happy with, due to the fact that John McGinn would give you absolutely everything off the ball. And that's just a good balance that you need. And then you have Rodgers and Buendia, who are linking up so well with each other and really creating opportunities for each other. And McGinn's obviously giving you a good attacking output too. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely performing as well. So I just think that's right for me. Marlon and Gesson definitely are within a shout. I'd nearly gamble on Gesson actually playing up top, because I think he actually is a proper striker. Like, that was his position with Nice. Yes, he's played out wide here and there, and I think Emery's solely making him as a winger right now, maybe due to the fact because Ollie Watkins is number one. But his work rate off the ball, like Billy has said here, like it's for the good of the team, and that is a positive we can say. But his attacking output isn't there right now, so I just think he needs to have a spell on the bench to really make an impact when needed. I think Marlon for me, if he scores the weekend and Ollie doesn't, I think Marlon has to start from now on, because he looks for those runs in behind. He's very clever. It's really like one touch bang with Marlon. Like, it's very good. Like, his positioning is incredible. It's just the movement in the box. He knows where to be, and those are the crucial things that you're going to need. I remember the goal that he got against Burnley when he scored twice. Buendia was nearly going to pass it to him, but he says, no, give it to Rodgers. He'll make the better pass. Rodgers then gets it, sees the pass from Marlon. Marlon then touches it, bang, into the...
Yeah, he doesn't think about it, does he? He doesn't think about it. He just strikes it. I mean, to be fair, the goal he scored against Bournemouth, I did feel a bit sorry for Watkins, who just come up and then it comes off his hip. Yeah. And then Marlon misses an absolute gilt-edged chance just to curl it in. But look, you know, he'd already got his goal, so we don't criticise.
Well, look, that's it. Those are the days of strikers, isn't it? You score one world and then you miss a sitter. Like, them things just really happen. Like, so, but look, you would be sick if you're Ollie Watkins after playing well against Bournemouth, not getting yourself a goal, coming off for the man who's scoring, and then he goes and scores again, like within probably his first shot. Yeah. So you would be kicking yourself, but at the same time, it has to be up to Ollie to make sure he's getting those chances and putting them away.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it's sod's law, isn't it? But yeah, Marlon, he was interested. He had an interview and he talked about kind of it being quite hard, but he just thought, get his head down, work hard. Whenever he comes on, utilize those minutes to do his best for the team, and the rewards will come. You know, I know we kind of look into everything with the finest of details, but you know, a lot of these players they obviously do want to play, but they're getting paid a decent amount of money. Let's not forget, they're training every day, they're playing football. You know, they understand the game. It'll come for them if they just keep the head down and work. And fair play to Daniel Mine, because I think I had him as my sort of flop of the season, and at the minute he's doing pretty well. So Fair play to him. Before we get score predictions, I do want predictions in the chat as well. We can't go anywhere without discussing. This is a slightly off topic. We can't go anywhere without discussing Birmingham City's announcement of their new stadium.
Jeez.
I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but
I've seen them.
What have you made of it? I'll see if I can get them. But what have you made of the design of the stadium? I mean, I thought we'd seen it all with Manchester United's announcement of their images of the stadium, but I think this one tops it, you know.
Well, look, it's Christmas. Santa will have a few places to fall down them chimneys. I also think it looks a bit like, you know, the chocolate factory from Willy Wonka. It looks a bit like that as well. You know, and obviously I'm going to keep a PG. I'm not going to say the other thing that we saw.
Yeah.
I think everyone here probably.
Here we are.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of get the vivid image when I said let's keep a PG. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you,
do you you know, with that, I know they're our biggest rivals, but do you kind of understand the ambition, but the design of it? I mean, it's just bizarre.
I mean, if they're looking for a few 99s in the summer as well, I mean, that's good going too, you know. Get rid of that, Rich, will you? Just get rid of that.
I just don't. I mean, yeah, Rach said, you know, not a fan, but good on them. I'm you know, I know they're our biggest rivals, and do you know what? I wouldn't mind them actually getting into the Premier League so we can revisit that rival and batter them again. But the stadium design, I mean, Carrie, joke of a stadium. Lucas, I like what it stands for, but the design is awful. It's a birthday cake design.
That's a good one.
It's a power station. Yeah, it looks like it does. It's got a real power station feel to it. It's just a strange design. It's so strange. I can't, you know,
it looks like the overhead electricity that you see, you know, them tall buildings that you have and that going around. It looks exactly like that as well.
They teased this design out and, like, you know, on X, and then they announced that, and everyone was like, "What the hell is that?" And 62,000 as well. I mean, yeah, you're asking a lot to fill that. You're asking a lot.
In the second tier.
Fair, you know, we'll see if they pull it off. But it was just, I just had to mention it.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong, right? I would love, in fairness, to see Birmingham back in the Premier League just so we can batter them every week again. Like
6 points guaranteed.
Yeah, just a day out, 6 points guaranteed. That's all I want them up for. Some fans might turn around, no, keep them down there. But I miss the Midlands derby, to be honest, which I really do. Like it's a game where Villa fans really get together. It's, you know, fierce rivalry, and it's a good derby day out. But I only really want them up just to get 6 points every year.
That's me. That's what I'm of that opinion as well. Absolutely. Get them in so we get guaranteed 6 points. Get Albion in, guaranteed 6 points. And
I'll get them all in.
I'll reserve judgment for next week once we beat Wolves, and then we'll get a guaranteed 3 points.
Reserve that judgment, yeah.
We'll get a guaranteed 3 points against Wolves because we always lose to them at Molineux. But yeah, get the Midlands clubs back in because we'll get plenty of points from them. Let's get score predictions in the chat, and I'll come to you in a second, Martin. But do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and help us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I think we're fairly confident coming into this game. I did see a comment that from someone saying, you know, they're not so confident. Davis said, feel like people think we'll walk this game, but I can see the opposite. You know, I know we talked about this earlier on, but are we of that opinion that it has got that banana skin feel to it? You know, Leeds having an international break when maybe they didn't want to, they kind of needed it when they were on a bit of a bad run. Has that given them a chance to reset? You know, is it a situation where, you know, sometimes these strange results come up after international break, or do you think Villa will be too sort of professional to kind of let that happen to them?
I think with the squad that we've got now at our disposal, everyone's kind of fit, obviously, until Emery's press conference where we know who is and who isn't going to play with these caution injuries at this minute. But I think we've too much at our disposal. I think we're going to be too clever for them. I think we're really going to get 3 points out of this. Now, I don't think it'll be an easy game. That being said, I do think they will make us work for it. But that being said, I do think we'll have too much in the locker.
Yeah. So go on then. Let me trouble you for a score then and scorers.
I'm going to go with Leeds United 1, Aston Villa 3. I think the goals will come from Buendia. I'm going to go with John McGinn. And I'm going to go with a lovely centre-half goal from Ezri Konsa.
Nice. Stephen's gone for a 3-0 Villa win. Watkins, Rodgers and Evan Gesson. And that would be Gesson's first Premier League goal, would it be?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, that'll be good. Good evening to you, Bear in the Garden. Gary says, keep it tight early and we win 2-1. Lucas says a comfortable 2-0 win. Kevin was saying Wolves will be a harder game just because it's a derby, but at Villa Park, he's confident. And I think a couple of other people saying, Lucas said he does feel that Wolves is more of the banana skin game. I think it's going to be Leeds 0, Aston Villa 2. And I think Ollie will get a goal. Actually, I think it'll be Ollie and Morgan. I think it'll be back to the Rodgers and Watkins show.
The dynamic duo.
Yeah, I think we'll get that. Robin. I think they'll score both of them. Yeah. Most people confident. Dantrum, Leeds 1, Aston Villa 2. Patty, close score, not easy win, but Villa 2-1. Tornado 2-0 Villa, McGinn and Marlon. And I know we've said it before, but the bench will play a key part. You know, you were reeled off the names: Barkley, Bogard, Marlon, Matson, Sancho. You know, so many players that can be brought on to change the game. Tielemans to change the game, or to control the game, or to solidify the defense. You know, so many different points that you can bring on. You know, if Dinia's blowing a little bit, Matson could come on to give us energy down the left-hand side. If we need, you know, more width, you can bring Sancho on. If you need more pacing behind, you can bring Marlon on. If you need more strength and physicality, you can bring Gesson on. If you need a bit of creativity or a bit of passing control, you can bring Barkley on or Tielemans on. Like, there's so many different options that we've got. It's crazy to think, you know.
But someone gets you into the manager's boot there, what?
So say it again.
Someone get you into the manager's boot with all the creativity and the flair and.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like we lamented the squad at the start of the season and in pre-season, and we're worried. Now you look at the options that we've got, and you think, bloody hell, it's not far off a dream squad situation at the minute.
No, it's absolutely not. I mean, you're looking at it and you're like, wow, we've got nearly 2 or 3 players in every position. This is a dream. It's because the days of Martin O'Neill and the Gregorys and the Atkinsons, we had 11 good players and 2 subs who would come on, and then after that you were looking at scraps because the game plan's gone out the window. But now, not anymore. So it's great to see.
Yeah. Brock, another 4-0. Buendia bags, Watkins gets 2 and a McGinn banger. Nice. Kevin 2-0, Watkins brace, and Tornado said he loves Watkins Morgan revival. And so I think everyone is very, very confident going into this game. I am actually going to the game as well, so I'm buzzing for that. So please do, if you're watching and you are going to the game as well, look out for us. Come and say hello, and be great to see. And hopefully we get the 3 points. I'll be back. We've got a bit of a special show coming up. I think we'll bring it out on Saturday evening. So please do look out for that. It's an in the away end special with the Leeds view.
The Leeds view with Ger Lynch. Yeah.
Ger Lynch. Yeah. Great YouTube channel from a Leeds perspective. So we're going to get him on for an in the away end opposition preview. So please do look out for that. We'll obviously have the usual reactions, Lions Raw reaction. We'll have Talking Tactics. We'll have Fans Forum. We'll be back as well next week. So loads and loads and loads of shows to keep you guys occupied. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Martin, thanks for joining. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Help us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.